There's 10 drug dealers deciding whether they're gonna kill me or not. And the grenade got loose and rolled up and stopped in between me and my business associate. If you hold the grenade, you can stop it from blowing, but he misses it. I'm looking at the grenade and I'm thinking I'm gonna die.
When I was breaking into show business, I'd have given anything to get advice from top people in the industry. Today, Jose Padilha, the brilliant mind behind Narcos. Welcome to the Greenlight Sessions. I like that. That's a nice pose. That'll be the thumbnail for Jose Padilha. Looking zen-like.
I'll try.
All right, let's do this. Jose, man, thank you so much for being on here. Why do you think you've succeeded in TV when most people fail?
Well, granted that I succeeded with Narcos, I think Narcos is a great subject matter. We are talking about something everyone understands, which is narcotics. And it's also a world that people don't know. So at the same time, there is something familiar, and something unknown.
So now let me ask you that question another way. What is it about you as a human being, as a person that's had you be successful, where so many people just aren't?
There is a big component of luck in being successful. And, there's someone who wins the lottery and other people don't. It has nothing to do with the someone. I'm pretty sure there is a lot of talented people that, have what it takes and didn't get lucky. I have a way of telling stories that I think appeals to the public. If you look at Elite Squad 1 and 2, they are narrated in the same way that Narcos is narrated. And so Elite Squad 1 and 2 they were proof. I mean, they were successful already. And I think that way of telling stories also have been successful in the documentary world. I come from my experience as a documentary filmmaker.
Most people you deal with, certainly who come to you, aspiring directors, working people around you, who are trying to get to your level. It's just natural. What do you see that they don't quite get yet that would make a difference for them?
I think mostly is a screenplay, is understanding story. It's not a visual art, it's a narrative art. You're telling a story. When you write a book, you're transforming that story into typographic signals in a white page. When you're making a movie, you're telling that story with images. I think there is a lot of talented directors who are great with images.
Yeah.
Who can create incredible visual universes, and some of them don't succeed because they don't get the right script. If you don't have a good story, no director is going to save you.
Yeah.
If you don't have good lines, no actor is going to save you. And so I feel a lot of talented directors fail because they don't understand story.
So you did Bus 174, which is incredibly powerful. I just watched it over the weekend. Thank you for finally sending it to me. Huge amount of heart. I mean, is that something that you've always been interested in, those really deep, culturally rooted stories about the impoverished, about socioeconomic issues?
I grew up in upper class in Brazil, looking at what was going on with the people who were not so lucky to be born in an upper class. That's a part of being lucky. And I felt compelled to talk about it. And that translated to everything I did.
What would you say is your defining character trait?
I think I have a talent to break story. I just know that when I go into a writer's room or when I sit down to break down the story of a screenplay, I come up with the goods very fast, faster than the majority of the people that I've worked with.
One of the things I have to say that really struck me when we started working together was how quickly you pivot. And, we're also, you get a note, we'd get a note from the network or the producers would say, you can't do that, you have to do this. Like, I was really always surprised. I'm not trying to be flattering, but I was really struck by, if you thought the idea had merit, you were instantly willing to just dump what you already had in mind and just go with it.
If you get a screenplay, and the screenplay is, 120 pages, it's hard to get to upload the whole screenplay to your head. And for some reason, I can create a abstract idea of the screenplay in my head. I can see it in my head, the whole thing. I don't need to break it down. And so when somebody gives me a note, I can see all the consequences of that note and how it trickles down through the story, both in regards to what happens next and to regards to what needs to happen before the place of the note for it to make sense. It just occurs to me very fast in my head. And so that's why I can maybe pivot or find a way to do a note that's not offensive to us creators. Put it like that.
No, I mean, one of the things, I mean, I've worked with a lot of people, not as many as you probably, but one of the things that really struck me is how receptive you were to new ideas. And it's something I've tried to bring on to my other projects since then. You adapted instantly. You unglued very, very quickly, like on a dime from what we had. And you were like, okay, we can't do that. Let's think of something good in that direction because it's not worth arguing about.
I mean, how do you incorporate the studio note in case the studio note is bad and end up with a good script, right? That's the question, right, that you get. It's either that or you just tell the studio I can't do that note. I have been in situations where I went back to the studio and I said I can't do that more than once. So, it's a little bit our experience working together. It's a little bit shaped by who we are, but also about who the executives are. I'll give you one example. In a studio movie that I did, and we have a screenplay, right? And the studio opens another movie, not my movie. I haven't even started shooting my movie. The screenplay opens another film. And I'm driving to the set, we're doing prep, and I get a call from the studio and saying, that other movie we opened didn't work. So now we have notes for you. That's crazy. We didn't get that. It's another film, another character, another story, another plot. And there's something wrong with they made an assumption of what went wrong with that movie because it lost money, right? It wasn't funny enough. Then they go to you and say, you have this screenplay. I have a note. It's not funny enough. And I go like, what? Because that other movie didn't work because it wasn't funny. I say, what the heck are you talking about? That's crazy. We didn't get that kind of note.
No, we didn't get that kind of note. No, we got notes, and then we got notes from FX that were good notes, and they were a very smart company. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to this question because I want to get to the bottom of that. You're an incredibly strong personality. What part of that has worked for you, and what part of that hasn't?
I started making movies in Brazil, and in Brazil, the financing of movies doesn't require that you give away creative control. You can finance the movie with a little bit of your money and a lot of the government's money. And so the movies that I did, Bus 174, Elite Squad 1, Elite Squad 2, and many others, they were 100% controlled by me. I decide what the cut is, I write the screenplay, I decide who the cast is, and I don't have to show the movie to an audience and get notes from screenings that are made for people who are not filmmakers in Pasadena, let's say, and so I had total control of my projects, and my projects were very successful. Bus 174 was incredibly successful. Elite Squad 1 and 2 were giant blockbusters, and so on. So, and the first season of Narcos, it was the beginning of Netflix. So there wasn't the Netflix building. I could go and talk straight to Cindy, to Ted Sarandas, and it was much more easy to I didn't have a layer of executives that I had to go through, and Ted and Cindy are incredibly smart. They are creative people in the way that most executives are not.
What prompted you to structure it like from three perspectives?
I wanted it to be narrated, and I wanted it to include stock footage, because there were giant scenes that, such as the invasion of the Palace of Justice. That was so too big to be shot, and there was a lot of stock footage. And The second constraint was it needed to be half English. So the voiceover allows for more English. Um, and so it's seen from the POV of one character, Murphy, and this Murphy is the fish out of water. It's the guy who's learning what Colombia is, and it's becoming acquaintance with this world. That was the basic idea. I had a lot of leeway with the creative in the first season, and so I got spoiled, and hence I have a strong personality because I think when I do it my way, it's gonna work.
Well, and it usually does. But you had a strong personality before you landed, before that show. I mean, that's just the nature of it.
Let me put it like this: with time, I got way more, way calmer. I used to go to war if something happens when I'm shooting, like war. I'm less strong-headed than I was. But having said that, I am a director. I go to a movie set and there's like 150 people in the movie set. And if I don't do anything, nothing happens. And every director is like this. So I have to go and make decisions. And so I make decisions for life. I'm not talking about how to write and what I learned in the world of filmmaking.
Yeah, absolutely. For life. People are.
I think by making movies, in my career, I went from doing movies that I totally control to doing movies that I don't totally control in Hollywood. I have some control, but I'm not Steven Spielberg, right? Who has way more control than I do. Sometimes power makes decision for the sake of power, not necessarily someone powerful that actually understands storytelling, but just someone who is in a position to make decisions. So, for instance, a lot of studio executives decide things that are not the best thing for the story. It's the best thing to protect their jobs. So there is a power structure that makes decisions that are not necessarily aligned with the best movie. So I've learned to navigate power structures by having my career on film.
How?
I was incredibly bad at it, and now I'm just bad.
Well, what have you learned? Like, have you become more diplomatic? Are you?
I mean, I've learned that there are some wars you can win and some you cannot. You're working inside a power structure, and by the way, there is nothing wrong with the power structure. If there is somebody bringing the money. In Brazil, I brought the money. My problem. My film. And this is why you saw me trying to solve all those problems in the notes. As a filmmaker, I'm not the one running the risk here with the money. So I have to concede that if I want to make this kind of budget and have this kind of distribution inside the system, I have to be able to make concessions. I have to navigate. They are running a risk. They are betting on me.
100%. You get pitch shows all the time. All the time. What gets you excited about a pitch?
I don't get pitch shows. I pitch shows.
but you do get pitch shows. I've pitched your shows. Other people come to you. I mean, you probably can't go for a coffee sometimes and like somebody's like, hey, you're Jose Padilha.
I get offered shows, but mostly I like to do my own things. So I like to write my shows, develop them, and try to do that. But I get pitched movies. I get sent scripts more than shows, and it's about, to me, it's about the screenplay. It's really about the screenplay. If I get a pilot or an episode of a series or a movie, it goes down to, this is why I say story is king. It goes down to how good this is and how good the story is. Is this presenting the character correctly? Is the first act setting up the story in a reasonable way? Does it take a lot of notes to get this done or not? You know what I mean? That's this kind of decision that every director makes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Life, as we both know, can be a roller coaster. What do you do to stay emotionally balanced and empowered, like day to day?
Um, well, assuming that I'm balanced, you don't know what I
Well,
do when I take off the suit.
you're a lot more balanced than a lot of people. I think you're balanced. I mean, I think you're like I said, you're a big personality and you're dramatic. I mean, I don't think you're much more dramatic than a lot of other Brazilian people I met, but you're up there for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
But I consider you balanced, and you're succeeding in a business that has a way of knocking people right off.
Part of it is luck. You're balanced because you have a genetic. You got lucky in the genetic roulette. So part of it is nothing to do with you. It's upbringing. As a child, if you have a balanced environment. I meditate every day. Been doing this for 15 years or more. I run and I try to keep healthy, so I exercise at least 4 to 5 days a week, and I try to get a good night's sleep. No drugs. I don't do drugs.
Cool.
That makes a big difference. I know a lot of directors that are hooked in drugs, cocaine, heroin, but I don't do drugs. I never done them.
What's the ballsiest thing you've ever done to get a show done or to sell a show?
I've done a lot of crazy things. I was shooting in a location that were controlled by drug dealers, and I had a 10-day shoot in that location, and I had a giant crew. It was the opening sequence of Elite Squad with 1,000 extras or something like that, and a crazy real drug dealers all over the place with real weapons, AR-15s. My agent came from LA to see that, and he was hanging out with the drug dealers thinking they were extras. wearing a suit, in the slum. And in the last day of that sequence, we were one day behind, and the drug dealers thought it was the last day. So they kidnapped 4 people from the crew to steal the scenographic weapons that we were shooting with. Everything is stopped. We got the crew back. What are we going to do? What's going to happen next? The police went there because they kidnapped her. So there was a shootout, and it stopped. That slum, I can't go anymore. I went to another slum, not knowing that it was the same gang. So when I got to that slum, they got me and my business associate, and they took us to a trial. So I'm sitting down, and there is 10 drug dealers deciding if I had called the police or not in the other slum that got the issue, whether they're going to kill me or not. They didn't tell me that they decided to spare me. They just told me, follow us up the slum.
Nice.
So I'm thinking I'm going to die. And in Brazil, drug dealers, they use grenades attached to their jackets. So they run in the slum and they can throw a grenade like this. And one of them ahead of me tripped, and the grenade got loose.
Nice.
And rolled up and stopped in between me and my business associate. I'm looking at the grenade and I'm thinking I'm dead. The drug dealer runs, tries to hold the grenade, because if you hold the grenade, you can stop it from blowing, but he misses it. And the grenade didn't explode. It was defective. And the drug dealer look at it and says, I'm glad this was an Argentinian grenade. They fail a lot. And I went like, oh my God. So that was crazy, because the next day I was back into the same slum shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did crazy shit. I mean, I can't, there are things that I did that will get me arrested, so I'm not going to tell them to you.
Come on, just a couple. Nobody's going to see this.
So I don't want to be arrested. But I did things that I took risks that definitely shouldn't have taken. And when my son was born, I stopped taking them. It goes to the screen, but it doesn't help the director to sleep at night.
Yeah, no, it's freaky. It's definitely freaky. A lot of people, I think, who are going to watch this are people, they're not film students. They're going to be people who would love to have your career. What is it that you say they need to understand about the business?
The biggest thing is the first film. Getting that first film made, you have to fight for it. I mean, the thing is, you have to keep at it. You have to believe that it's going to be great and keep at it. That's the only thing I can tell people.
What would you do differently if you were starting now, if you're 22 now?
I would start in the same way that I started, writing my screenplay, getting private money in Brazil, getting tax credit in Brazil. I would do exactly what I always did to start. One thing I can say about my career, every time I had creative control, every time, I made something big, successful. Every time. It's not true when I don't have it. Maybe it's because I work better. I think everybody does. And maybe it's because the kind of film that I like to make is not the film that works in America. I don't know. When I came here, I already was successful. I mean, the first movie that I did here was $125 million budget.
Which one?
So, RoboCop.
Oh, RoboCop.
Yeah, I think it ended up at 150. I don't know, but it made money. But I don't know how to answer this, Nick, because in the environment of algorithms and streamers and independent films don't have that much pool as they used to have. It's a different ballgame. But my instinct is, if I was in America, my instinct is I would try to make my small budget film and take it to festivals, which is kind of what I did. I mean, every single film I did in Brazil went to Sundance, the documentaries went to Sundance or went to Berlin. Not so in America. We did that. We wrote a great screenplay, we sold it to FX, and then it didn't go.
The Silkwood story is an amazing story. That hasn't been made in the last few years, even though it didn't get greenlit by FX because they got bought out by Sony, is still a travesty. I mean, that's a great untold story that deserves to be on there if anybody's out there watching.
If you have a project that you don't sell, you go to the next project because that project is, there is a thing about Hollywood that is funny, right? Let's say I wrote a TV show, right? And FX loved it, right? That's like Silkwood. They got us to write 2 episodes and they have Bible, they're ready to go, and FX gets sold. Even though the buyer may love the show, they bury it because they didn't develop it. They don't have the credit of doing that.
Yeah.
It's not their show. So they may have a fantastic, incredible series, it's buried, right? You can't, so you have to let go of it. What are you going to do? You're going to fight with force somebody to develop that show? It's a flop.
No, you're going to build bitterness and bile in your, of course, and develop cancer. You're going to let it go. I mean, I guess you get better. I've gotten better at letting projects go. I used to cling to those things. What are you excited about right now?
I'm going backwards. I'm going for the small movies now. I want to do small movies, 1 or 2. It's easy to get it made and I can control them. I want to go back to the time when I started, when I had total control over my film. I'm betting on storytelling. I believe that this film, because it's going to be well made, because it has a great story, it's going to be successful because of that. I don't need Brad Pitt on it.
Jose, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. So great to hear your answers.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Let's work again soon together.
I'm down for that for sure, man. All right, thank you. As for our viewers, thank you for being here. If you like it, press like, press subscribe. Until next time, have a good one.